Today we're ranking the least cool to most awesome official state fish. State fishes are supposed to symbolize their states. They give identity, pride, and teach people something about the local ecosystem. But let's be honest, not every state nailed it. The process to choose a state fish usually starts with a small local group, gets picked up by a legislator, and, if enough lawmakers agree, it becomes official when the governor signs it. At no point in that entire process does anyone seem to have a drop of common fish sense. So today, we're calling out the states that could have done better, and tipping our hats to the ones that actually made a decent choice. Let's start with the lamest of the lame. The only thing worse than picking a head scratcher of a state fish is not picking one at all. Iowa, Indiana, and Ohio, congratulations. You officially have no state fish. Even worse, all three have official state plants. And come on, what's cooler? A fish or a plant? Exactly. Each of these states has over 70 native fish species to choose from, yet somehow none of them made the cut. Shame on you, Iowa, Indiana, and Ohio. You are officially the worst states in terms of state fish coolness. Next up, an 8-way tie for least cool actual state fish. Michigan, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Vermont, Virginia, and West Virginia. Leave it to a bunch of East Coasters to copy each other. They all picked the brook trout. Now, all fish are cool, but trout are kinda overrated. They're fun to catch, sure, but they flop like maniacs and die the second you get your camera out. And don't even start on how they taste. Compared to almost any other sport fish, they're a trash meal. For the record, Pennsylvania was the first to pick the brook trout back in 1970. The others just followed. Copy-paste fish. Up next, a 9-way tie. Alabama, Georgia, Kansas, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, Rhode Island, and South Carolina. These states chose from the same 3 fish: channel catfish, largemouth bass, and striped bass. All fine fish, but totally unoriginal. Way to give your state a symbol that 6 other states already have. Our founding fathers are probably rolling in their graves over these kinds of spineless decisions. Now we have Florida, with their so-called Florida largemouth bass. Nice try, Florida. Just because you slapped your state's name in front of largemouth bass doesn't make it unique. But honestly, what else would you expect from a state full of retirees trying to one-up each other in their HOA fishing ponds? Next, a 4-way tie for 29th place. Minnesota, South Dakota, Wyoming, and Idaho. These states will argue they're not copycats, but they are. Minnesota and South Dakota chose the walleye, while Wyoming and Idaho went with a cutthroat trout. Sure, they only share with one other state, but come on, you picked your state fish, because your cousin Billy Bob likes to catch it. A state fish should represent the state, not your uncle's weekend hobby. All right, Delaware, you're next. You picked the weak fish. That's literally the name, weak fish. Where did you think this was going to end up on the list? If Delawareans were smart, they'd have renamed the species before making it their state fish. Come on! You're the first state. Act like it. At number 24, we've got Hawaii. Of course, the first and last states to join the union pick marine fish. No disrespect to saltwater species, but here in America, we like our fish to stay within borders. And then there's the name, Humuhumunukunukuapuaya. Yeah, that's not a joke, that's the actual name. Cool fish, great colors, but we had to dock points for giving us a tongue twister instead of a fish name. Coming in at 23rd, Illinois chose the bluegill. It's the fish every kid catches and every big fish eats. We're not knocking small fish, but if you're gonna pick a bait fish, at least pick one that's a little more unique. Bluegill are native to most of North America and now live everywhere. Not exactly a great way to stand out. That's why I barely missed the top 20. Next, Oklahoma and Louisiana, with the white bass and white crappie. Given their history, it's not shocking they went with white fish. Meanwhile, perfectly good options like black crappie or black bass were right there. Let's just say, these states might still be living in the wrong century. Starting off the top 20 is North Carolina with the Southern Appalachian brook trout. Sounds familiar, right? That's because it's basically the same brook trout those 8 other states picked. If it's really a unique species, maybe give it a name that doesn't sound like a copy-paste job. Then we've got a five-way tie among the cutthroat trout states. Colorado, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, and Utah with the greenback, black-spotted Lahontan, Rio Grande, and Bonneville cutthroat trout. Trout fans will argue endlessly over which one's best, so we're calling it a tie and moving on. At 14, Washington chose the steelhead trout. Basically a rainbow trout that got a taste for salt water. Surprisingly, it's the only state to pick a rainbow trout variant. Props for that. Then in a three-way tie for 13 are salmon states. Oregon with the Chinook, Alaska with the king, and Maine with the Atlantic salmon. Classic, iconic choices. Can't argue too much with that. At 10th, Tennessee, because smallmouth bass is the only 10 I see. Loved by many, feared by baitfish everywhere, the smallmouth is a fierce predator and a solid state symbol. At 9th, we've got Massachusetts with the cod. If the gods had a say in this ranking, they'd probably choose it too, mostly because cod rhymes with God. For our last tie, we've got two toothy predators squaring off, North Dakota's northern pike and Wisconsin's muskellunge. Both are basically freshwater crocodiles with fins, long, mean, and shaped like a missile that wants to bite your thumb off. The pike is like the rowdy cousin who shows up to family gatherings and immediately starts fights in the kiddie pool, while the muskie is the sophisticated, older sibling who quietly stalks you for 3 hours before ruining your lure and your will to fish. They're terrifying, they're awesome, and they definitely deserve a top 10 spot. At number 6, Kentucky brings us the spotted bass. The spotted bass is basically the largemouth, scrappier little brother. Smaller, meaner, and with a chip on its shoulder the size of a boat prop. It's the perfect state fish for Kentucky. Not quite as famous as its neighbors, but punches way above its weight class. Coming in at number 5, we've got the Guadalupe bass from Texas. This fish is tough, beautiful, and only found in Texas, which means it probably drives a lifted truck and wears sunglasses indoors. It's the official state fish, the unofficial symbol of don't mess with me. If Texas were a fish, it would be this one. In 4th place, California chose the golden trout. Now that's a flex. A trout that literally glows like it's been dipped in sunlight. Of course California would pick a fish that looks like it's wearing self-tanner and drinks green smoothies. But it's gorgeous, native to the high Sierras, and actually rare. So props to California for picking a fish that shines as bright as its ego. Bronze medal time, Arizona with the Apache trout. The Apache trout is a desert survivor, thriving in mountain streams where most fish would shrivel up like raisins. It's tough, it's unique, and it's a native species that was once nearly extinct but made a big comeback. If comeback stories were fish, this would be Rocky Balboa with gills. Runner-up goes to Arkansas and its prehistoric powerhouse, the alligator gar. This beast looks like a dinosaur that refused to evolve, part alligator, part submarine, all attitude. It can grow over 10 feet long, has a mouth full of knives, and gives zero concern for your kayak. It's brutal, it's ancient, and it's awesome. The kind of fish that demands respect just by existing. And finally taking the number 1 spot, Connecticut's American shad. It's got American right in the name, which already earns points. But beyond that, this fish has history. It fed starving colonists during the Revolutionary War and helped win America's independence. Literally the freedom fish. It's strong, determined, and keeps swimming upstream no matter how tough it gets. That's the kind of spirit that built this country. So congratulations, Connecticut, home of the most patriotic, hardworking, and downright American fish in the nation. And there you have it. Every state fish, ranked from fishless flops to fin legends. Whether you agree or not, one thing's clear, some states pick dinner and others pick destiny. And remember, if your state ranked low, don't blame me. Blame your legislators' lack of fish sense.